Zoom account and will be made available to the public through routine disclosure in accordance with applicable legislation and at the discretion of staff. Back to you, Joe.
Okay, thank you. First thing on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Recommendation that the Ramera Appeals Tribunal agenda dated October 11th, 2023 be adopted as presented. Can I have somebody put that on the floor for me?
So moved.
Robert, seconded by Randy. All in favor? That is approved. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest from any member? Seeing none, if that does come up, we can deal with it at the time. We have one item on the agenda today, and that's item 4.1. 4109 Bonnie Beach Road, short-term rental license number 2022-065. Recommendation that the Ramera Appeals Tribunal held a meeting with the operator of short-term rental license number 2022-065 as per bylaw 2020.1 section 6 subsection 3. Have somebody put that on the floor for me. And seconded by Robert. And it's on the floor, so back to you, Jacob. I guess, do you have something to read, or is it John?
So I will allow Sina to speak as per the bylaw. He has his time to speak to the tribunal to discuss matters of mitigation towards future demerit points for his license.
Okay, Sina, thank you for joining us. Would you like to talk now?
Sure. In regards to the two violation, it happened, and I was present at the court to defend myself and these violation. However, if you look at the dates, when exactly it happened, it was back on May, and the other one was a month after, and I never had such an issue. Especially with the second violation, which was the jet ski, and I wasn't aware of it, and I talked to people, and they didn't know about any regulation about that as well. However, about both the violation, I made sure that this is not going to be happening, and I put the new rule to my property that whoever comes to my property, they're not allowed to use a jet ski, to not have this station in the future. However, I do have cameras all around my property, and I'm watching every single guest coming to the property, making sure they're not riding any jet ski to possibly could disturb their neighbors.
I muted myself. Do you have anything further to add? No.
So there no in regards to the boat charges. I made the standard rules to my property, as I mentioned. These date on my boat charges, and boat charges were back about 6 months ago, and since then it never happened, and I never had a complaint. And what I found is what I did, since I received a notice of boat violation, the progress I made to the short rental I have in the property, it worked, and it's not going to work. It's not going to be happening again.
Okay, JT, do you have anything to Mr. Popple?
No, and I can support that since the July, I believe, violations, that we haven't had any reoccurrences to the property, so I can confirm that information. The only thing I suggest, I know during the hearing there was the issue of not actually responding to the property. So I would like to hear from Mr. Dineshi what his plan going forward, or what his current plan is when he does, if he does receive new complaints, what he's going to do when he receives them, not just what he's implemented.
That was actually going to be one of my questions. So,
Sure. First of all, I'd like to respect the decision at the court last month, but I still believe I responded to the calls. But as I said, I respect all of your opinion. But moving forward, I'll make sure I keep doing it. I'll be responding within an hour. But as I mentioned, I did respond within an hour.
okay. Any members have any questions for Mr. Dineshi?
No.
None for me.
Anne?
I'd like to pursue this a bit more, Mr. Dineshi. I personally would feel better if you had somebody that was closer to the property, because I know that you do live a little ways away, and I don't know if you have someone that you could name as a person of I believe it's called
Responsible person.
a responsible person who could be at the site faster than you could. That would make me feel better personally.
Yes, I'm been talking to one of my neighbors to do this. From the other side, it's been a few weeks. I'm looking for the property management on that property as well, and I do have another short rental licensor very close by to me, which I have a good relationship with him. So I found these two people so far, but from the other side, in general, I'm looking for the property management to be present on the side if anything happens, though.
Anne, any further follow-up? No. That, Mr. Dineshi, that was going to be my concern, because I think I addressed it to you at the last tribunal, right? Even though you responded, the whole thing being a responsible person is that you're supposed to be able to be on property within an hour, and it wasn't an hour. It was, I think, almost 3.5 hours later you were there, right? We got to be able to stress to you the importance of being the responsible person and being able to attend the site, your short-term rental, within that hour, to deal with any issues that are arising once you've received a complaint. And unfortunately, you're getting to that territory where you get more demerit points, and we actually might have to suspend your license or revoke it. And then you may not be able to operate a short-term rental in the future. So I can't stress enough how important it is that that hour time frame that you have as a responsible person, you have to be there on site. And I know you said you looked at your cameras and you didn't see anything, but there was an issue there, because obviously you had the OPP there. You told us the OPP arrived at scene a couple hours after you got the original complaint. So it's a very, you're getting into some ground where you may not want to go.
It's
So,
true.
okay. Seeing nothing else. You have anything more to add, Mr. Dineshi?
No, as I mentioned earlier, that these since I'm just repeating myself one more time, this violation happened. It did not happen again, and I put the new policy and rules for the new guests coming to the property and making sure these is not going to be happen, and the jet ski is not allowed to my property to in a case if it's loud and the neighbors are complaining and will not disturb them.
Okay, thank you. I guess we have to go into closed session to discuss this. No?
No, that was just if Mr. Dineshi was bringing up personal matters that weren't privy to public scrutiny. So we didn't have that today, so we can move to adjournment.
Do we need the recommendation about the tribunal receiving this as information?
Yes, you can do that as well.
Okay. I have a recommendation that the Romero Appeals Tribunal discussed a personal matter regarding the operator of short-term rental license number 2022-065 in accordance with section 239(2)(b) of the Municipal Act, and that receives this as information. Can I have somebody put that on the floor for me? Robert, seconded by Randy. It's Randy.
Yeah.
All in favor? That is passed. We have a recommendation for adjournment that the Romero Appeals.
Mr. Chair, if I can just
Yes.
make one comment just to Mr. Dineshi, just so he
Yep.
understands what's next. So Mr. Dineshi, the substance of your comments will be put into a letter from Mr. Galvao, just with what you've communicated to the committee and some of the comments that the committee has communicated back to you with recommendations in terms of appointing somebody closer, the importance of responding to the property within 1 hour, those types of things. So it'll be on the record. It'll be your responsibility to implement all of those things to ensure that there is no future violations. So you will receive that. But basically at this point, you're permitted to continue to operate, just respecting the regulations within the bylaw.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so now we can adjourn. So the recommendation that the Romero Appeals Tribunal adjourn at 10:23 a.m. Can I have somebody move that? Robert, seconded by Ann. All in favor? That is passed.